Welcome to Podcast Malawi. It's another Tuesday, 3 p.m. on the dot. And you know what's going on? I'm your host, Dennis Imani, and today's going to be an exciting conversation. If you're a fan of Facebook, if you're a fan of politics, if you're a fan of entertainment, maybe you used to be a fan of entertainment, a few years ago, you should know my guest very well. Very outspoken, very opinionated young man, currently rocking his dreads. Welcome to Podcast Yongo.
Thank you very much.
My guest today is Emmanuel Mwanyongo, right?
You got it right, yes.
Popularly known as King Yongo.
Yeah.
And he is very, very, I don't want to call you controversial, straightforward, but I think that's what people usually say. They'll say, that guy is controversial, just because maybe you have opinions and sometimes they are not always straightforward opinions. So if you want to find out more about our guest today, stick around because I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. And remember that this podcast is brought to you by Crypto University. This is a platform, an online university where you can actually learn how to trade in cryptocurrencies, NFTs, all those things to do with Forex trading. Yeah. And if you want to find out more, please go to www.cryptouniversity.network and sign up so you can learn how to trade and make a little money. Yongo,
Yeah.
it's been a long time coming and finally a pleasure to sit down with you.
I'm thankful for you inviting me again. I know I've kept you waiting for some weeks. But,
It's been months, probably now, I think 2 months, close to 2 months.
But I really had a tight schedule then. But I knew that when a good time comes and we'll have a conversation. And today I am. Let's talk.
Cool. So let's take it from the beginning. I heard first about you, like I think a few years ago. You were in Blantyre studying.
Yeah.
It wasn't at Chanko. You were studying somewhere in Blantyre.
Yeah.
Where were you studying that time? And what was happening? I think it should be like 3-4 years ago.
No, that must be many years ago.
Many years ago, right?
When I got to know you, you were at Nzuna as well.
Yes.
Yeah. 2011, 2013, I was at Polytechnic Continuing Education Center, CC.
Okay.
I was pursuing a diploma in journalism.
Yeah, because I think I knew you from the media circles then, yeah. Okay.
So, after that, I worked for a few years. Then I went to Chancellor College as a mature student.
Okay. Where did you work?
I worked for several organizations. You know, when you have a diploma or when you're just starting up, you just jump on any opportunity that comes your way. So my very first job, and I was lucky, soon after finishing my diploma, a month later, I got a 6 months contract at the Malawi River Bottom Trust as an assistant data analyst. So I was working only 2 days a week, Monday and Friday. But I was still getting some good money as compared to what you would normally get when you're just starting out.
Welcome Trust, I think, is a very reputable organization.
They pay
money.
They pay very well, yeah. But it was a completely different field. I was doing journalism and media stuff. Then I had to go and do data analysis. But I've always been keen on computers since I was in Sunday school. So it was very easy for me to learn faster, learn on the job and do that job. Okay. Then after my contract ended, I stayed for a bit, maybe 4 or 5 months, job searching. And then by chance, I met the very famous Taps
Bandawi.
Yeah, so I think I met him at ShopRite or something. And I quickly said hi to him and I told him, I'm a big fan of yours, of your work. I have an interest in media, not only journalism, but media as a whole.
Yeah.
So he manages an advertising agency. He does a lot of media stuff. So then I was very, very much into writing, scripting and stuff. So I told him that I think I can do adverts. I've been conceptualizing several adverts. I had some notepad I was writing. I could write ads for Coca-Cola and for any other brands that I would think of. But I was just writing out of passion.
Yeah.
And then he just said, come tomorrow 9 a.m. and bring your sample scripts. I had made a very good pitch to him in ShopRite. And I went back home, looked at my notepad where I was sketching these scripts. But then I said, no, I can't take this to Taps. Because Taps was Taps.
Yeah.
He still is. So that night I didn't sleep. Honestly, I had to rewrite some of the sketches. I had to pick 3 good scripts. And I went to him. And when I met him, he was so impressed. He gave me a job on the spot. He said, you start as an intern, then we'll see how you're progressing. So I met some great guys there. Isaiah Nkwazi, Jabe Nkwazi, they were working there. So they had to panel beat me and teach me stuff. I did my 3 months internship, then he employed me fully.
Okay.
So I worked for him for about 2 years. That was between 2013, 2014 to somewhere 2015, 2016. And then after that, I worked for Primetime Media. They used to be, I think it's still there, Primetime Media.
It was owned by, was it?
Eduardo.
Eduardo Kankumba,
Yeah.
yes.
So at that time, they were managing a big artist, Achina Gwamba, Nes.
Yeah.
I came in when they were just signing up Mwanache and King Chambiko. So primarily, I was given Mwanache as my artist that I was managing.
Okay.
And I was also handling King Chambiko. But for the other artists, Gwamba and Nes, I was doing their PR. I was also their road manager. So whenever they're having a tour, I would be with them because Eduardo wasn't keen on traveling much.
Yeah.
So that was the time. I also, at the same time, when I was working for TAPS, I had a blog. I was calling TimalawiBuzz.com. It's now defunct, but yeah, it made some strides and it got me noticed. I was made a correspondent for MTV Base for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I was corresponding for 6 Southern African countries.
Oh, wow.
So that was my stay in the entertainment industry. And as soon as I went to Chancellor College, I kind of cut off from that part because I had to concentrate on other things.
Okay, so what did you go to study at Chancellor College?
At Chancellor College, I did a bachelor's Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Cultural Studies. I majored in Public Relations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are a proper PR and communication specialist.
Yeah, we do try. We do try. That's our field, yeah.
That's your field.
Yeah.
I know it's not where you currently are trading, but that's where you actually come from.
Yeah.
Because I think after your explanation of where you've been, I now remember, I think, how I first knew about you. I think it was from the blog that you had. Yeah. I think I was talking to a friend of mine, Kevin Sulupe. Yeah. I think that's how we connected.
Yes.
Because
Actually,
we're all in the entertainment.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of things that we wanted publicized and we would talk to you and all that. Okay. So tell me the transition now from media when you went to Chancellor College. You went there to do communications.
Yeah.
And you decided to cut ties somehow with the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Why, instead of like, okay, now I need to grow deep into this thing now that I'm doing a bachelor's?
Actually, when I was going there, I had thought that my platform would grow. I had found some young people that I left the website in their hands and I would just supervise and stuff. But then I found out that they still wanted me more. They wanted my time more, and I couldn't manage. And also, going to Chancellor College, a liberal arts college, you get challenged in so many ways. You meet new opportunities. And for me, that's where I would say I'd transition from King Yongo to Yongo Hayongo, because those are two different brands and personalities.
Okay.
And King Yongo was the one in showbiz. And Yongo Hayongo is the politician that people now know.
Okay.
So going there, stayed one semester on campus. I saw that it was very liberal and political thought and opinions were generally allowed. People would meet in different societies, have debates. People would come from outside campus, politicians and analysts, whoever. And there were political wings on campus actively allowed to participate in politics. And then I joined the wing, the Malawi Congress Party wing, and the following semester there were elections, and I contested for president. And then I made it, and that was the beginning of the journey.
How ironic was that you just joined Chancellor College first semester? You're just trying to establish yourself. Second semester, there are all these elections, because we know campus life, and when it comes to politics, there are always people that have got strongholds. You just don't walk into the corridors of a university and say, I'm going to contest for this post in this wing. There are people that are in first year, there are people that are in fourth year, and in between. These people have already put in their roots into who's and who's going to fund them.
True.
Who sponsored you?
That's an
Because
interesting
that's it.
question.
Who sponsored you? I don't think it was
Yeah.
just an issue of being popular. 'Cause, yeah.
Well, if you're talking of sponsorship in terms of finances, I didn't have any sponsorship. You know how college politics is. It's usually the people within the wing and those that have power that probably determine who is gonna get the seat next. And when I was joining the wing myself, I never thought I would run for president or any other position. Honestly, not even for a day did I ever think of that, because I considered all the facts you're mentioning here. Number one, I was just a semester old there. Most people, I would say, didn't know me outside my program. And also, I went as a mature student. And at Chanko, there's this common belief with Chua starting up. Yeah, like they don't
That's
vote
a
for.
fact.
Yeah.
That's actually a fact.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I think it's the same culture. Of course, in Zuni, it was a bit different when I was there.
Yeah.
When we went there, I think it was like that. Like when you're mature, no, unless if it's mature students representative.
Yeah.
But
That's
the
society.
rest was left for
for the generic
for the
students.
generic students.
So that's fact, and there's also another interesting one, because the Digita just reminded me. There's also another interesting one. Amati obweleza kuchanko sadane sa wina mbandolose. Koma, I think later on as we're talking, I'll talk about a story of one guy, Oranka Bweleza. He contested for the Students' Union. I heavily campaigned for him, and he made it.
Okay.
So I defied those two odds.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I think when I joined, the first day I went to the meeting. So they usually welcome Alendo, aenda tukuziweni, wachogera kuti upanga study jani. So I introduced myself, and then when the meeting started, the General Assembly, proper one, I found so many anomalies within the wing. Like, I think coming in as a mature student, that you have experienced several things outside college, you have an idea of how the world really operates, unlike generic students. I'm not saying they are not intelligent, no, but you view the world differently.
Yeah.
And I came in and I found the way they were running their politics, it was too fantasized. And it was unrealistic. So I raised a few points in the first meeting, and people were like, "Who is this guy?" Because I was telling them facts.
Yeah.
Was they were sucking at fundraising. They would say, "We've been fundraising for 3 months. How much do you have Kutumba? You hear 15,000." I'd be like, "What? What have you guys been doing?"
Yeah.
So I criticized them a lot. And then, criticism goes well with deeds.
Yeah.
So they had one fundraising event that I said, put me in the organizing committee. It was a fundraising called Tambala Night, for those who follow MCP. They have those nights.
Yes.
So I managed to bring in some cash. I talked to people that I knew from Zomba and outside Zomba. I would just pick a call. Get my phone and call them and talk. We managed to get some funds, and we managed to invite even some high-ranking people within the party to come to fundraising. So I think it was that event that people said, "No,
Who is this
guy must be the president of our wing." And it was the outgoing vice president of that time who came to me to personally say, "People are talking. People want you to." And I said, "No, I can't." I refused for about 3 times. Not because I wasn't sure about myself, because I know my capacity, but I wasn't sure of those other factors that we were discussing earlier on. That no, there are facts about college life that do not apply elsewhere, but they apply on campuses, and I wasn't ready to face those things.
Okay.
But then, after so many people in the outgoing executive had talked to me personally, I said, "You know what? Maybe these people have seen something in me. Let me give it a shot. You never know where this can take me to." Yeah. So that's how we started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, the most surprising thing was, like he said, we're only there for a semester, right? And it was like, was this guy here setting up the foundation before we got here? Because it did not make any sense.
How it just popped up, right?
Yes, we're only there for like 1 semester. And
that's like 4 months, eh?
out of
Yeah.
the blue, everybody on campus was talking about Yongo.
Yeah, because for me, I think I got the wind of you being at Chancellor College when this whole thing started.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was this post that came out about the campaigns
Yes.
that were happening for the MCP wing at Chancellor College. So at this particular time, DPP was in power.
Yeah. Heavy.
And the DPP wing was supposed to be the strongest,
Yes.
the most visible, and everything like that for a university like Chancellor College, because they had the financial capacity,
of
and
course,
the muscles to just like splash
whatever they want,
whatever it is they wanted. But somehow,
it was
some
the opposite.
unknown Yongo is carrying the masses around Chancellor College, and there's like all this vibe going on. And you took out your famous suit.
Yeah, the green revolutionary suit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one that trended. And I think everybody was, oh, who is this guy? It looks like he's really like taking this whole thing too serious.
Yeah.
Tell me about the suit. What was that?
Oh, the suit.
Where did that come about?
Okay, so I told you a while ago that I've been in entertainment. I've been working in branding, advertising, and the reason why I did public relations is because deep down my heart, I'm a huge fan of public relations. I believe public relations is a solution to anything. Even right now, if you look at Malawi as a country, maybe failing to secure some deals, it's all because of public relations. The way we manage the image of our country.
Of our country,
so many organizations that are doing good fail to achieve even more or to get more because of the way they manage their image and public relations. So I knew that with the odds that I was facing, being a mature student, I might fail to have a competitive edge, of which I handled that with ideas. My campaign was solely based on ideas. I never splashed any money or anything. I would meet people and talk to them and share with them the vision that I had. And I saw that I have a chance of winning. I sensed it a few days before the election.
Okay.
And then I went to Blantyre. I have this tailor. He's an old fella, but very knowledgeable guy. His name is Malidadi in Blantyre Market. I don't know if he's still there. I hope he will watch this.
Right.
But I truly value him because he played a very big part in my coming out into the public space and politics. Because I told him I'm a big fan of revolutionaries. So you talk of Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, Sankara, and all those people. So I said, I'm going to come out as a military person, but if I wear the Mayan camouflage,
it's going to be an issue.
It's going to be an issue. So what do I do? So I said, okay, Castro was wearing this green thing, and I think this is cool. And also because one of the primary colors for my political party is green.
Yeah, green.
So I said, let me make something green, design it in a military way, and I'll stock it with MCP symbols and whatever. You talk of all those four cornerstones and the logos and stuff and the other colors. So I explained to him and he grabbed the idea. He actually did a sketch for me. I was like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for. He measured me. 2 days later, it was ready. I went back to get it. I kept it from I didn't tell anybody. Even my campaign manager didn't know about that. I wanted it to be a huge surprise to everyone.
Yeah.
So I kept it. I made sure that on that day, there should be media people. I invited 3 guys from these major media houses. I had a personal photographer. I planned it well because I knew that whatever comes out of that event, of that voting process, and if I had lost, it would have been a big mess for me because I had brought all these media people, and they were taking photos or whatever. But lucky enough, the time we were going for voting, like an hour before voting, the only remaining other contestant also pulled out because we were 4 in the beginning.
Okay.
2 pulled out 2 days before because I think they are seeing that it's too tight.
Yeah.
And the other remaining one, him and I had a conversation a few hours before the voting, and he ended up becoming a very good friend of mine. And he's the one I was saying that a few months later, I had campaigned for him to become the Students' Union president. So he had told me, I know what, I didn't want to get this thing, but I think you are the right candidate. So I'm going to pull out. But I want to pull out now because my supporters will be disappointed. There might be voter apathy. So I want people to still come and vote for the other position. So I'll announce an hour before the election. So I said, okay, wow, let's do this. And I pledged to say, well, you know what? If you're looking at the Students' Union body, I'll support you as well. And an hour before voting, I checked the group, whatever. There was no announcement. I was like, oh, that guy might be playing me. So I'm still going full throttle the way I planned it. Because I thought that if I go there dressing the part, even it would influence some voters.
Yes.
Some would say, this guy I think is looking ready and stuff. So I wore that outfit for the first time. Moved. Even then, I was renting a quarters at the staff houses. When the landlady saw me, she was shocked. What's going on here? And my roommate was there explaining, and we went there, and my official photographer was taking footage because I was planning to. I still have the footage. Someday maybe I will release it. Maybe 10 years from now.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've taken a lot of footage of my stuff that I haven't released yet.
Yeah.
So went to the hall, and they announced I'm going unopposed. So that was it. So the inspiration behind that was me trying to announce myself to the world, not only to Chango. Because for me, I took that as a platform that I can influence nation in nation politics.
Yeah, actually, I think politics, campus politics, somehow influences
It
how
does.
national politics is done.
It does.
Because I think universities are places where generations are being groomed.
Yeah.
And it's not just generations, but it's actually young people that have got influence somehow because their demands are always heard.
True.
When university students start protesting at Nzuni, Chanko, it's news everywhere.
It has a ripple effect. You know?
Yeah. So I think that was like a big platform. But that did not just go without controversy, right?
It did. It did. On Facebook, several people, especially from the DPP then,
camp.
they would threaten me, I will get you arrested. You're wearing military stuff, whatever. You're misusing the flag.
Protected symbols.
The flag, and emblems. Yeah. So what I did is I had put an MCP flag on one flap here, and I put a Malawi flag on another flap here. Because for me, I always say, country comes first, political party second. Unlike other people who love their political party more than the country, I love my country more than the political party.
Okay.
So
there's actually a picture on Nyasa Times on an article that was published when Yongo won the presidency. A picture of
this said suit,
the regalia that he wore right here, and it says, popularly known as Yongo or Yongo, Wanyongo beat Kennedy Kwalabako Gantu in a surprise result. So you can confirm that it was a surprise for everyone because it was like, nobody knows who's this guy. And then all of a sudden he's like out there and he has won the election. Who is this guy? And then the other thing that I wanted to fact check is something that Yongo said about, using it as a platform to influence people. Because in that interview, that was 2018, he said, we're starting a movement for the colleges in Malawi, like a revolution. He said something about being inspired by revolutionary people. So he says, we're starting a movement for the colleges in Malawi, and we'll stop at nothing until we make it.
Yeah.
That's what
he made it, you did, right?
That was 2018.
We did. I remember I almost visited nearly every college in Malawi.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember then our director of youth, the current minister of youth, Honorable Richard Jimeno. I thank him so much because not only now that I made it to the national executive committee, but even then he would send me to represent him on things I never expected.
Okay.
Yeah, he would tell me I was invited to go to MCA to open a wing. You go there and represent me. He's done that several times, and I appreciate people of the older generation that really support us as young people. So we did manage to create that national movement. I'm only sad that now I don't think it's there anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that. Before we move, as we're talking about your regalia,
Yes.
that was a whole thing. Well, did you get any lawsuit on?
No, I never got even one.
Okay.
All I got
So it was
were
just
threats.
like social media.
I got social media threats.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, but social media was a wash. Even that was like 4 years ago. I'm looking at the comments on the post that was made. I was like, tezingolimbira ni school aba. Ndale sira ni yage. Mnango mva kuti mkhiyo anambira ndale ku school ino mwati mudengere. Akuidani.
Hey, I got that a lot. Akuidani thing. Okay. And I will tell people, I will challenge them. Just watch for my results and you will see. Yeah.
And what was your experience now? Because I think when that happened, you were now, I think when you joined as a mature, you were in third year. So you had a year to go, which was 2 semesters. Yeah. And that was the time that we're campaigning now for the tripartite elections. what was your experience trying to mix school and the pressure of trying to campaign for a political party when you created a strong brand like the Yongo?
It wasn't easy, bro. And honestly speaking, I wouldn't encourage many people to do that unless they are really sure of what they want to do, because Brigida would attest to this. She was my classmate. There were times I would miss class for 3 weeks, and this my mom doesn't even know about. There were times I would miss class 3 weeks. I'll be on the campaign trail, not because I want to, but because it is expected of me to do that, because of the position I was carrying and the weight I was carrying. I had thought that because the presidency in our wing was limited to 1 term, and you can't contest if you are in the 4th year. That's the rule.
Okay.
So I started in 3rd year, 2nd semester. It means I was finishing 4th year, 1st semester, like 2 semesters. So I thought my 2nd semester in the 4th year would be easy because I would have finished my term and I would be allowed to have my peace and just concentrate on doing my dissertation and the final courses. It was never like that, bro. I would get calls even from the headquarters. You've been so silent. What's wrong there? And I remember the late Honorable Mia, who also played a big part in my politics. He supported me strongly. He had challenged me that we are leaving Zomba in your hands. We'll be getting reports from you. So whatever's on the ground, I'll be hearing from you. So it meant I had to be actively involved no matter what. So it was never easy, but it all goes down to time management. And like for me, I'm somebody who I think is by God's grace. If I attend a class, I don't need to study much. I got the things that I already assimilate even when I'm in class. If I miss a class, I just have to dedicate myself and study. Not too much, but just study enough, and I get things right. But it was not easy. I wrote my dissertation in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And that was after the May elections, 2019. And you can imagine I was coming from the Tally Center. I was with Daud Suleiman. The 2 of us were the final people there. I went back to school after they had announced that we have lost. So you can imagine the emotional drain that I had. And I had to go to school, start doing my dissertation. And I had to go and ask my supervisor to give me 2 extra weeks after the exams because I had to prepare for the exams. So she was kind enough. She was kind enough, my supervisor. She allowed me. So I finished my exams and my friends left me on campus because they had already finished their dissertations. I remained on campus for 2 extra weeks. I did my dissertation and
okay,
and
I just wanted us to fact check the actual period of the campaign. The launch of the official campaign for the 2019
elections
was in March 2019. So I think during that period was like preparations, but I mean when you're going towards a campaign, you just don't start. It starts way before. But the official launch of the campaign was
in March
in 2019.
Because it's supposed to be 2 months,
according
right?
to Malawi Electoral Commission elections calendar.
March, she's right.
May. We vote in May.
That time we were voting in May. Now we'll be voting in September. But and I think the official campaign period was supposed to be 2 months, so she's right.
Okay.
But for political parties, that official calendar doesn't matter. The time I was coming in politics 2018, it was already campaign time. So we still campaigned, even though I had given up the position, but we were still campaigning. I was still expected to go and help out.
Although Yongo is saying it was difficult for him, it didn't look like it was difficult. He looked like
he was okay. He was just having
everything was alright on the ground. Like, and Yongo, the surprising thing about Yongo is when you get in an exam, he would always be the first one to leave. Like, what?
Okay. Now, there's still one thing that I didn't want to understand. You said you started all this campaign on your own and you got the presidency on your own without support.
No.
But not without financial support from...
if you say so,
from the political leaders. So, your association with the people that you have mentioned, I follow you. I know you have very close ties with Hon Richard Chimwemubanda.
Yes.
And you also had very close ties with Hon Mia, who you also mentioned.
Let Mia, yes.
How did you meet these people and how did they get into your circle to start supporting you, believing in you? When was that? And what were the situations of all the people, young people that are out there trying to campaign for the party? You had favor with them.
That's a very good question, and I'm glad. I'm so glad you've asked that question, because a lot of people just see a finished product. They don't see where the product is coming from. Because when I was president of the wing and things started moving, because man, I got support when I was the president. Honestly, in my duration, in my term as president, I received more than 7 MPs coming to visit the campus. In one night, we had 6 MPs coming to visit one event. There was a day we had 3 events happening in the same day. We had some more like a conference, a town hall meeting, which was attended by Honorable Kukuyu, there was Honorable General Lunguzen MP. They were panelists and discussers on that on that conference, and we had a leadership capacity building workshop, which also invited some senior people in the party to teach how the party is organized, how we're supposed to operate as the party. Because I wanted what I saw when before I campaigned, like I told you, I saw that the wings were running on fantasy. You know how college politics is, but I wanted the wings to be running in tandem with what the party says
on the ground.
So I had to bring those people. So in one day we had those 2 events, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Then in the evening, I organized some awards for the outgoing final years, just to appreciate those who had served the party with zeal in the wing. So we had those. It was an action-packed day. We had about 7 MPs that day on campus, and we had people like Kunkuyu and other senior people. We had Honorable Abida Mia before she was MP. Then she was a guest of honor at the awards. So it was a packed day, and it was well sponsored. And people started thinking that, oh, when you're president, you have access to this money. And they thought I was getting money for that. But for me, and that's why maybe one of me loved me to an extent. Because he didn't know me until I became president. And then he heard what I was doing. He called for me. I went to his house. We had a meeting. He was asking how can we get votes in Zomba. So I was being honest with him. And he was told that if you meet Yongo, is an objective person, he will tell you the truth. So I told him facts. And he asked me what are my plans for Chango. So I told him. So he said, anytime you need some financial help, always call me. So the first 2 times I called him to fund our activities. First time we asked for 20,000. So him that was small, but to us it was big. And I wrote a report, like a full conclusive report on how we spent each penny. And there was 500 was remaining. I told him we had this 5 grand remaining. We have kept it in our fund. He said, that's fine. Next time he also, I also did the same. Third time when we were campaigning for the Students' Union, and then we had a lot of money. That was the first time I had a lot of money. And I was thanking him after we had won, because he said, the only way you can pay me back is when you win, don't lose. We fought, we won. And I called him. I said, right now we are celebrating. I'll send you a report in 2 days. He said, no need to send me a report. I still obliged, but I went back and wrote the report. Then he called me and said, from now onwards, don't write me any report, because I believe that you really put the money into good use, into the intended use. So that's how we got to trust me. And that goes out to so many young people. When we get opportunities and when we get to meet these influential people, we should never take them for granted. When you ask for money for something, do what you've asked for. And it helps you. You gain the trust. Like for me, during that time, I got so much support and funding. And that's why many people were disillusioned. Thinking that when you become president, you have access to money. And those that came after me, they walked in with that spirit, and they failed to run their wing, because they were putting their own interests first, maybe, and it did not. Whatever they got there was not what they expected. So you asked how I got in touch with these people like Honorable Chimwendo Banda and Mia. I never knew them before I became president. They knew me. We talked. Honorable Chimwendo was another good experience. He invited me to come to Yongo one of the weekends. He sent me some transport money. I came, and he took me around, honestly. He took me to the headquarters. I've never been there before. There was a mausoleum unveiling for the late wife to Jesse Tembo Ndeza. He took me there. So when I met the president for the first time, he introduced me. And the president had called me actually 2 days after I won the election. It was through him, Honorable Chimwendo, who said, I've given the president your number, he will call you. So I truly value Honorable Chimwendo, because if you have got something in you and he sees it. He makes sure he nurtures it. Even sometimes maybe we'll talk as we go on. Sometimes when I got into some controversies within the party and got a lot of backlash from all over the place, Honorable Chimwendo has always been there. Even when I've made a mistake, he says that you've made a mistake, but I will still support you in whatever you think you do.
The president called you.
Yes, 2 days after.
He had your number.
He was given my number.
He still has it.
I think so.
Do you see his statuses on WhatsApp?
Yeah, he doesn't post statuses, but I see him when I talk to him. Sometimes he responds. Sometimes.
Have you ever talked to him since he got into State House?
I talked to him last month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now talking about your entry into the National Governing Council for Malawi Congress Party.
Yeah, National Executive Committee.
National Executive, not
Yeah.
Governing. Executive
Governing Council is for the DVP.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, National Executive Council.
Yeah.
What happened? What was the experience like?
Oh,
Whose influence was it that Yongo into the National Executive Council?
you know this. There's one thing about power, and this I think we'll also talk about it in detail. Some people say power is like a drug. Power is too sweet. When you get some of it, you want more of it. When I became president of the wing back at Chakwera, and I had learned that some of the things that I was dreaming about, for example, starting this big movement for young people. Because for me, I didn't want to just to end with colleges. I wanted to be across all structures of the party. I saw that with just doing college politics, I want to achieve that. So I wanted a position in the main body of the party.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I saw a memo that we're going to have a convention, and they had announced all the positions that are there, so I saw Director of Public Relations. I was like, okay, here we go now. Whenever I hear about PR, my heart beats fast, because I love PR too much. And I had seen a gap that in MCP, something which I see up now, we haven't done PR very well. So I started discussing with a few people that we were discussing the convention, and I said, I'm going to contest. So I switched position. I said, I'm going for Director of Public Relations. And then there was another person whom I respect so much, Aleke Minyan.
Okay.
He was also vying for the same. And I had a conversation with him. I shared him my vision. I said, you know what? We can go as a team, but we're competing. So how do we go about it? I was like, you know what? You go as director. I'll contest as first deputy director. And we went to the convention. Unfortunately, I didn't lose, no, but we didn't get to vote for my portfolio.
Okay.
Because of time constraints. We had spent 2-3 days. The budget was for 4 days. So first day arrivals, second day voting, then the other day for departure. So we had each third day, we had only voted for a very few positions.
Okay.
And mostly it was the directors. We haven't started the deputies. So they made a resolution. The convention and the delegates say, let's allow the president, in consultation with the Secretary General and the regional chairs, to appoint the remaining vacant positions.
Was that in the constitution of the party, or it was
well,
a new?
The constitution of the party allows the convention to make any resolution. So it may not be in the constitution, yes, as in plain writing, but the convention, because the convention is the highest decision-making, I would say, event, not body in the party, because it has delegates from all the structures, from the grassroots to the regional committees. So because of time, we wouldn't do another convention. It's costly.
Okay.
So the convention decided, they voted, then they allowed the president to do that in consultation. And the president announced right there that when appointing, he will want to strike a regional balance so that it should be a party that represents national interests, not just a few regions. So in the party, we have six regions. So they had to balance up. So they ended giving my position, the one that I wanted, to the Lakeshore region, not to my region. I come from the north. So I had to accept. It was politics. But the good thing is the president still accommodated me in the National Executive Committee. So he appointed me as a committee member.
Okay.
So I believe that for you to influence, you don't really need a position, but you need the platform. So I'm glad now I'm able to sit in the committee. Whenever we're having meetings, whenever there are decisions to be made, I contribute actively. So for me, that's what matters.
Okay.
Yep.
When you were going into power, when the relan, was that the relan?
Yeah.
When the relan happened and MCP
Won the first election, yes.
as part of the Tonse alliance.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of expectations from a lot of people because I think the victory came on the back of a struggle.
Yeah, true.
There was struggle for people that went to the streets to demonstrate. There was a struggle for people that went to the courts day in, day out, just to be there to give moral support to the party leadership that was there, or the alliance leadership that was there. And there was also struggle for the lawyers, people that spent days on looking at the technicalities of this case at hand.
Yeah.
And we also had to struggle again to go back to that same line that we were on the other year to cast the vote again.
Yeah.
What were your type of struggles as somebody now who was in the executive during that period? And when you were going there into the struggle, what were the things that you were looking forward to when it finally happened that the Tonse Alliance has won?
Well, for me, I would say the day it was announced and declared that the president had won will remain one of the happiest days in my life ever. Because it was like you started something 3 years ago and finally you're seeing it coming to fruition. I think it's the best feeling ever. And also, I would always tell this to maybe my grandchildren someday. I was there when I saw the president transitioning from just a mayor member, just a leader of opposition, or a common man, into becoming the president. I was there when all protocols were changing. I had an appointment with him in Blantyre at his house in Namiwawa. I was given 7 a.m. as the appointment time, because that time it was certain that this guy has won. The mood has changed even in Blantyre. If you go to Blantyre market, then it used to be a DB stronghold. But that day before he was declared, you could tell that even the market has changed. You would see MCP flags in the market for the first time. And I said, people are going to congratulate him. I said, maybe I may never have a chance. Because, when the president, when people forget that, like I said, I might have his number or whatever, but it doesn't mean to talk to him every day. At the end of the day, he's the president. He has too many issues to handle. So you might have been talking to him when you were in opposition, but things change. And you have to accept it. So I knew that it would be maybe difficult to talk to him as I used to every day. So I wanted to go and congratulate him before everything starts. I went to book an appointment. It was accepted, 7 a.m. I was there 6:50. In Namiwawa, there was a tent. There were people waiting. I was sat there. I stayed there until 1 p.m. I didn't meet him because protocols had changed. We were there. We would see the IG of police coming. We would see the police commissioners, the Speaker of Parliament, the Chief Justice came to brief him on something. Around 10, 11 a.m., we saw those guys in red berets. 2 vehicles outside. And then we knew that things have changed. He had private security. All of them were briefed. They had been dispatched. The president had to come when he was leaving for Lilongwe. He came to thank them personally, talk to them. Like, thank you so much for what we have done. The 3 years, the security guys, we're still together in the struggle. That's what he said. And he had to come to us and say, sorry for all those who had an appointment with me, but things have changed. We have to rush to Lilongwe quickly. And said, preparing for tomorrow. They are not announced the winner yet, but you can tell.
That this is how things are.
Numbers don't lie. You can see the numbers, so you can just make a guess that I think this is what is going to happen. So I was privileged enough, though, that when we were leaving Blantyre for Lilongwe, I was on that convoy.
In whose car were you?
I was in the SG's car. My boss then, yeah. Yes. So then I was working for him in the party as his executive assistant in the party. So I saw the transition. Like literally the way people were lining up on the roads from Blantyre to Lilongwe. And from Cheu, it was worse. People literally were stopping the convoy. Like, so I saw him transition like that. And that for me, that's when I knew that, these things look easy. when you're meeting somebody, you're just saying hi to them, you would give him, like the president likes to do fist bumps. You give him fist bumps, but you could tell that this can't happen anymore because he was surrounded by security.
Okay.
So you're asking about my expectations. My expectation was that we're going to come in and give Malawi an alternative government, give Malawi what they deserve, and we all know what Malawians deserve. Or we speak about these things during the campaign. Some people might have personal expectations. For me, what I just want is a conducive environment which will enable a young person like me thrive in Malawi. That I shouldn't aspire to go and live elsewhere, but continue living in Malawi and have opportunities to grow in Malawi. That's what my aspirations were. I never expected any positions or whatever. Some people might suggest so, some people might say so. I've seen that a couple of times when you try to express a different opinion from others. They would say, mukembeza maudindo enu nala kumanani ndemfuna muzukira. People would say those things, but they just don't know what some of us stand for. So for me, as long as the country is a safe place for everybody, it's a conducive environment for young people to realize and achieve their dreams, to pursue their dreams, pursue whatever innovative ideas they have, and make it out of Malawi. For me, that's the biggest aspiration that I have.
Brigitte?
From what Yongo is saying, in the article that we read earlier, he mentioned the issues that were sort of like affecting young people that time when he got elected are the same issues that he wanted to advocate for, like high rates of unemployment, just an enabling environment for young people in Malawi, which is what he's talking about right now. But maybe what I would personally want to know is, do you still have that hope that things are going to change? Because in the article, you specifically said our only hope is Dr. Chakwera.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you feel the same way about it at the moment.
Honestly, I still feel the same way. I wouldn't lie about that. Perhaps in the last 2 years that Chakwera has been on the seat, not many things that maybe were promised have been realized. Yeah, that's true. There have been factors that have led to that. Things have been explained. There are things that we could have done better. Yes, I agree. But I also believe that as we speak right now, I would even say, look at the other political parties. Who else do you see that will offer us a better deal than what we have right now? Because that's what we should be talking about. When people say we won't change, it must be because we see that there's an alternative that we can try. But if you look, for example, we'll look at the DPP right now and look at how disorganized they are. I don't think they will run the affairs of the country in any better way than they did before. If you look at the other parties, because at the moment in Malawi, honestly, I do believe that I always believe that in every country there are at least two major parties, and there are others, what I usually call the supporting cast. If you look at the US, look at the UK, look at every other country. So even here in Malawi, I still feel like if it's not MCP, then obviously it will be DPP. If you go to any election right now, it's these two parties and the others. So if you look at the DPP currently, I don't think there's any alternative. What I like about Chakwera, he might not have maybe accomplished much of what was said, but he still has 3 years to go. Let's see what he has in store for us. And also, what I like about him the most, at least the politics of Malawi has changed. You haven't, if he goes on any podium, you haven't heard him castigating anybody, unlike what I used to happen in the past. I think people are free to express their opinions, and I feel like he has that father figure kind of leadership that we lacked, and he's somebody who listens. I think he accepts criticism, and that's what we need in a leader. But our role now as citizens, as young people as well, is to continue checking on what was promised. That should be us as active citizens. You promised ABCD, where are we? I don't think it's a crime to do that. That's why I do that myself as well. Although I get misunderstood by some people in the party and where else, but I believe as a young person, it's within our rights to remind those leaders that you are promised us ABCD. Where are we? you are remaining with 2 or 3 years. Are we going to achieve this? It's not a crime to ask those questions.
Talking about being misunderstood or having contrary
Opinions to others.
You have been figured out to be one of the people that used to be the MCP golden boy. That's what people call you.
Yeah.
Yongo is the MCP golden boy. You got into power. You worked in the government through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the personal assistant, or was that the post?
Yeah.
To the Honorable Minister Esono Ankara. Are you still working for Honorable Ankara?
Yeah, I'm still working there.
You're still the personal assistant?
Yeah.
Do you go to the office?
Yeah, I do.
How many times a week?
Okay. Recently, I haven't gone as much because I was on a study leave. I've just finished my master's 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I just defended. Remember, even the time you called me to come, I told you, let me defend my master's first. Yeah. So I had excused myself. I explained to the boss. He understood that I had to finish this thing up. And soon after I finished, I had that trip to Tanzania. So I just came back 2 days ago. So it means Monday I'm supposed to be in office.
Monday you're going back to the office. Yeah. I'm waiting for your picture back in the office. Okay, so talking about your sentiments, your views and opinions on governance issues, on how the party or the alliance is governing or how other people are expecting things, you seem to be getting a lot of stick from within the party.
Yeah.
For example, there was a national executive meeting that happened.
Yes.
You had been talking about what you think needs to be done for the party and for the country to move forward. And I think there's a section of the party, Malay Congress Party, that felt you are attacking the party and they did not expect you
to go to the meeting,
be at the executive. A video surfaced of you and other executive members dancing
at the
and it looks like something came out of that. Were there any attacks from within the party on you after that?
Okay, I would say this. In every family or in every community, there are always some controversial people. There are always some people that will never agree with reality. And there are always some people that will always try to control you. So in every family, there's that. In every organization, there's that. I went to the executive meeting, and that was the first one. In January, we had the first. And in January, it was the most hectic time that even myself, I thought, should I really go? Because I was getting threats. People saying, you should never come again to this, whatever. This headquarters. But then, fellow members within the executive have always been supportive of me. When they have a different opinion from mine, they tell me. I told you about Honorable Chimwendo. We always have different views. Sometimes we express, we meet, we talk, we debate. Sometimes we agree. Sometimes we agree to disagree. But life goes on. But not everyone thinks like that. There's some who think that when you are a member of the party, it means when you're a member of the party, it means you cannot say anything
that looks like it's against, which is what people call constructive criticism.
Yes, but people don't get it. They want you to be a handcrabber all the time, of which I can't. So I've always told myself that when something is wrong, when I see that there's something that has been done wrongly, that has a bearing on the party itself or even on the nation, I always speak out. Because like I said in the first place, I value the country more than the political party. People do change political parties, but you can't change your country.
Yeah.
Some people do change citizenship, but I'm not that type. I'm patriotic. I'm Malawian. I was born Malawian. I will die Malawian. If something is wrong from the political party, I always speak out. Like you, as you're putting out constructive criticism doesn't mean you hate the leadership or the party. But then, so that day I went there. It was fun. Actually, we spent the whole day there. And for the first time, the president was there the entire time. And for us, the reason why we were dancing, maybe people would be asking, why were you dancing? Isn't that retrogressive? No, man, we are Africans. One thing that people should always remember is we are Africans. We are not Americans. We are not Europeans. In Africa, we dance when you celebrate. When you go to a wedding, you dance. That's us.
Yeah.
Some people don't. They just sit on their chairs. When something good has happened to you, we celebrate, we sing, we dance. Our leaders, even at church, even in the community, in the villages, we sing for them. That's who we are. We are Africans, and I'm proud to be one. So that day, we were thankful that the president was with us the whole day. He opened the meeting. We thought that at some point he would leave, because normally he does that because he has to attend to several other important issues. But that day he said, I will stay. He was signing memos right there in the meeting. So for that, we were thankful that this man stayed with us from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So that time we escorted him to his car. That's when we were dancing. And then, because it was a happy mood, we continued dancing for minutes and minutes and minutes. So people saw the videos like, so I saw some screenshots from a certain group, blah, blah, blah. People talked. That's why I responded on Facebook, because people were asking me a lot of questions. So I said, you know what? I can't respond to everyone, so I'll just address all of you here. That's when I posted whatever I posted.
Was this group your political party group?
Yeah, it was an affiliate group made by other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the Malawi Congress Party media team?
That's a tough question. That's a very tough question. I wish you could unpack the question, but I will try to answer you the way I
Okay, so as a way of unpacking, there are thoughts on Facebook that people that call themselves the media team are overzealous supporters of the party, in quotes, hand clappers, who supported the party, made noise for the party, and they're always there just to look for any opportunity that comes, and they don't have contrary opinions to what other party members would do, like in your case.
Okay.
So, firstly, is there a media team at MCP?
Thank you very much. Now you have unpacked it well. I'll answer you this way. I think there are two facets to the media team. There is a media team that was formed by the party, whose job is to publicize the party, spread word about the party or information. And these guys are a team that is known by the publicity secretary and the others who are responsible. And there are people who have phones, they go on Facebook, and they support Malawi Congress Party. They also call themselves media team.
Okay.
So people just conclude that everyone who is speaking for Malawi Congress Party is part of the media team. Some people even put me in the media team, but I'm not a member of the media team.
Yeah, because I've heard that you are part of the media team. That's why I wanted to find out from you. Which media team do you belong
I'm not
to?
a member of the media team. During the campaign time, I was a member of the media team then.
But the fact that your background is in PR and you have done all these PR things, you're supposed to be in the media team somehow. Because you had also contested shown interest to contest for the public
relations.
Yes.
True. All you're saying is correct, but I was only a member of the media team during campaign time, especially the 2019 campaign time. From 2020, I was given another role, and I was more into the youth directorate. So right now, I serve more in the youth directorate with the Honorable Richard Chimendu. And I understand that everyone has their own role. So just because I did media studies and I did publications doesn't mean I have to be in the media team. There are other people who are given that part, and I play my other part well.
Okay.
But because everyone who writes on social media, people conclude that you are in the media team. So sometimes we just accept, okay, fine, whatever it is. But I'm not a member of the authentic media team of MCP.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, talking about your current role and the things that you're doing. You say you still work for Honorable Kaka, and you're going back to the office. Are you going to be going back to the office in Red Rocks?
Why not?
Rocks now.
Why not?
Okay.
And in fact, I don't like it when people call them dreadlocks, because the word dread means something else. I just prefer calling them locks. Yeah, I think the word dreadlocks is a colonial term that was coined to make them look bad. The word dread itself. I don't think there's anything wrong with hair. I've not seen any clause in my contract that says you cannot keep hair.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't see anything wrong. When I was working at Foreign Affairs, there were 3 guys with locks there. And I didn't see anything wrong with that. So and the problem is with out of Malawians and maybe us as Africans, we need to decolonize our minds, because we have come to think that anything that is to do with black is bad. I could ask you, out of all the white men you've met in your life, if you'll put into percentages, I'll ask you between 90 to 10%. Are 90% white males with hair, or 10% white males with hair, or without hair?
90% with hair.
Only 10% without hair, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what about black people?
90 without hair or very short hair.
It's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's like that?
Maybe our hair doesn't really grow that much.
Nope. Our hair grows. We met a month ago. Was my hair like this?
No.
Yeah, it grows. But it's because we have been conditioned to think that for a man to look good, you have to cut your hair. And the same person who made the scissors and that other machine you use is a white person. They keep their hair proudly. So I think it's a mental problem that we have. We are inferior to an extent. We need to decolonize our minds. There's nothing wrong with hair. If I go to the office with hair, would they be looking for my hair or my input?
Probably your input. But is that how things are in government or in the civil service?
I haven't seen any contract in the civil service that says you must not keep hair. Like I said, I've seen 3 guys at Foreign Affairs who have hair longer than mine, way longer than mine.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go to the AG's office, you'll find guys there, lawyers who have good hair, and there's nothing wrong.
All right.
Yep.
Cool. In conclusion, now to our talk, there's a lot of things and a lot of angles that would have a conversations about. You have been traveling. You've been all over the place. I think in the recent past, you were in Egypt. You have been posting, or I've been seeing you in the forums of Pipe. You call it Pipe. And now you are in Tanzania for the Julius Nyerere Fellowship. What's up with these fellowships? What are you doing? And in whose capacity do you go to these forums?
Nice question. First of all, I must say, I'm here to go to Egypt. It was postponed because there was a surge in COVID the time we were supposed to go.
Okay.
So we expect to go hopefully in January. And that is the African Presidential Leadership Program. So the first one I went to was Zambia, the program for young politicians in Africa.
Okay.
It was about 6 months or so. Then I did another one in China. It's called the Dongfang Scholarship on Governance. That one, I think, for me was my most proud moment, because it's a very competitive program, and that one you have to be nominated by the president to go.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the president who nominates your name, and I went a year after Alpele Mose went. So for me, that was something big.
Okay, so it was the same one that Atupele went for.
Yes, Alpele Mose went, then I went, then Bland Banda went.
Okay.
This year I don't know who went, but somebody went as well.
All right.
So, and there was the Next Generation Leaders Academy by the National Democratic Institute, Malawi, that I did from last year to this year. And recently I went to the Mwalimu Nyerere Pan-African Young Leaders Fellowship. So for me, I believe that some people say leadership is inborn, but I believe leaders are made. I believe you can learn to become a leader. So that's why I keep on getting interested in these fellowships. I always apply when I see that it's something different.
Okay.
Because all the 4 that I've done are different. They're not the same. People might think, ungo banga zomwe. No,
Yeah.
They're different. The first one I went to was stricter for political leadership. It was called Program for Young Politicians in Africa. So that one was purely political. You learn about ideology. You learn how to impact within your political parties. It ends there.
Okay.
The one I went to China for is more of an international relations related fellowship. You learn more about China-Africa relations, China and American relations. You learn more about that. And I found it very interesting because you understand how these nations behave. Like why is America and US always at loggerheads, yet they do a lot of trade. They have too many trade deals that are never compromised by their politics. So you get to learn more about that. And the one I did in Malawi, I had to do something in Malawi because I said there's no way I can be going to attend fellowships outside Malawi. Then there's a fellowship in Malawi.
I'm not doing.
Yeah, so I wanted to experience that. And I got to learn more and how we had a lot of interventions within Malawi. And the one that I went to TZ just now is because I'm a big Pan-African. I'm Pan-African at heart. I believe in the deals of Pan-Africanism. I'm also a socialist, and I'm a fan of African socialism as it was described more and driven by the late Julius Nyerere. So I had been a fan of Julius Nyerere. I've read about him so much. When I was young, staying with my grandfather, he used to talk about him so much. There were some books back home that I could read as a young person, but maybe I could not understand fully. So going there was a good experience. I had to meet fellow young leaders from about 20 African countries, and several other young leaders from Tanzania. And I had to learn from well-esteemed facilitators. We went to there's an institute called Wongo's Institute there. Wongo's means leadership in Swahili. And we went to the National Defense College, where you learn now military discipline, and you learn how the military view governance and Pan-Africanism to an extent. You learn about patriotism, what it means to be patriotic. And mostly we learned how Africa or Africans have failed Africa because of lack of patriotism. And we had to, one thing I liked about the last fellowship is that most fellowships dwell on theory. Like when they teach you about, let's say, Pan-Africanism, we'll be learning history about the Nyereres, the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Sankaras, the Lumumbas, and it just ends there. They just teach you history. But we were learning about the current Africa. What kind of Pan-Africanism do we need right now? We need to give Africa the economic emancipation, because now we cannot be talking about political liberties anymore. Our forefathers achieved that. We got independence. It ended there. But now we have to look at things of economic growth of technology. For example, I traveled to Tanzania. I have an Airtel SIM card. I have to roam to use Airtel, and it has roaming fee. For me to call back home, or for you to call me when I'm in TZ, I'm going to be charged as well. But if you go to the EU, that doesn't happen. You have a SIM card from Sweden. You can go to Germany. You can go to France. Wherever you go, you'll be using the same rate you use at home. There will be no extra. You don't have to buy any new SIM card. That's what we need. As when we're talking about Pan-Africanism, we must look at these new things that are happening. Let's not only focus on politics.
So it's about trade. It's about
trade,
freedom of movement.
You talk of immigration. Talk of why should I struggle, for example, to get a visa? There were friends from other countries, from Djibouti and others. They struggle to really get a visa.
Into Tanzania.
But it's supposed to be an easy thing, you know. Another way for you to travel. We had a friend from Botswana. She had to struggle to get
ticket into Tanzania.
Yeah, just to get flights and connections. Yeah. It's a big struggle, and it's expensive. From Malawi, from Lilongwe to Dar es Salaam, I spent about 640 USD to and from. This is very close. It's just like 1 hour 40 minutes away or something like that. Yeah. If you go to Europe, for you to move from Scotland to Spain, I remember there was a time I have an uncle who was in the UK studying, and we had a conversation that day around 2014. He told me, I'm flying to Spain for a weekend, and I asked him how much is it. He told me 20,000 kwacha. Then, of which now I don't think it's even too much than the way it is from here to. So those are things we should be discussing. When our leaders go to the AU, they must not go there to drink tea and just discuss politics. These are the issues. How can we make transport cheaper and affordable and reliable in Africa? So that's the Pan-Africanism that I'm interested in. It's no longer about fighting with the whites. That period is gone. But now when we're fighting with them, we must talk about trade. We must talk about the economic emancipation. I like what Julius Malema says, and the EFF, their slogan is economic emancipation in our lifetime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brigida, anything?
I just wanted to say, since we're talking about leadership, according to a statement from the Malawi government, Yongo was appointed as the director for the National Youth Council of Malawi. I think that's something that we haven't talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, congratulations, by the way.
I was going to go there as part of our process.
Yes.
Because from what I've heard, word on the streets is you usually, for them, you usually attack government because you feel frustrated. A lot of people say you did a lot, of which we have discussed here. From your time at Chancellor College, you went into the executive and whatnot. People think you were expecting a lot than you are getting. That's why I needed to verify with you if you're still working with the minister, Esno Ankaka. And I'm also surprised that you said the president is the one who nominated you for your China fellowship.
Yeah.
It's a presidential nomination. Why do people think you are frustrated? That's why you write the things you write. When last week, you also just got appointed into the National Youth Council board as a board member.
As a director.
As a director. Where do you think this comes from? Because people still think Yongo puts all these things, talks this about the government openly because he's frustrated.
I think it comes from a place where, as Africans or as Malawians, we have not yet embraced what good politics is. Because people always think that, okay, akalwamboma wawa, within a year, zamba kuona wenda, fortune,
yeah. We talked about that, I think, and Henagawari. Ashina Yongo, ita wina MCP. Yes.
So I think it comes from that. So when people see you goody, ugenda bewapasi, ugenda gari moruledo, ugenda gari moruledo nchito, they think like you haven't made it. So whenever you speak any opinion that is contrary to theirs, they think, so these are some of the things that I would say, that you've mentioned. There are things that have happened in my life, yeah, but I'm not the one to be saying, because for me, I believe sometimes we are just privileged. It's by God's grace. And I always believe that public appointments or political appointments or political power is broad power. It's not yours, it's for others. For example, what we just mentioning, a seat in the National Youth Council in the board is not for me alone. I'm there representing people. Not everyone can sit there. There are only 14 people there. It means we're carrying on our backs the hopes of several other young Malawians. So it's not something that I should be boasting about, number one. And also, it's not a job. It's the board. You meet once in a while to make some decisions. But it's something that you can use to influence. And for me, I don't think, honestly speaking, I don't think I was given this on political grounds, because the National Youth Council is not a political organization. It's a parastatal, of course, but it's mostly run by affiliates of that organization, all the youth organizations in Malawi. So I believe I've been put there because for the past 2 years, I've been so vocal about that organization. Because honestly speaking, it's the dead organization. I have to be honest with you. It's a dead parastatal. For the past 4 years, they haven't done anything you can point at. So they have just been consuming money off the budget. They haven't done anything on the ground. So I've been speaking a lot about this. And just recently, about 3 months ago, there was a National Youth Conference on Governance, and I was invited there as a speaker. I also spoke heavily about the National Youth Council, that we need to resuscitate it because it's dead. So I believe I was put there because of what I've said. I guess it's a challenge for me. They want to see what I can do because I've been talking a lot. That's what happens when you talk a lot, people challenge you. So I accepted the challenge. We'll see what we can do. But I believe the team that has been put up from the board chair himself is a very progressive man. I think we'll be able to resuscitate the organization, because I always look at Kenya. They have the most vibrant youth council, and I admire them. I wish we can replicate that and make our youth council vibrant. If we do that, we'll open spaces for so many young people, and that's what we need as a country. That's one of the things that I've been advocating for, creating spaces for young people. So I wasn't appointed there for politics. No, that's why even if you see the board itself, it's a combination of several people. There are so many young, brilliant minds there who are running their own organizations. And also, maybe we didn't talk about this on the show, on the podcast, but I with my 2 other friends, co-founded an organization. We call it Young and Winning. Okay. If we had more time, we would have talked about that. That's what I'm concentrating on most for now. And I think that's what got me there into the youth council. Okay. It's not because of Yongo and being MCP and stuff, but it's because of the youth work that I've been trying to do. We went and met the Minister of Youth. We explained our vision, because next year is when we're starting to do things that will be seen on the ground. We've just been doing preparatory works, but next year we're rolling out, and you'll see things happening.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. In closing, I've got a few questions that I want you to just give me straight answers to those questions.
Okay, fine.
Okay. The first one.
Mm.
Do you still believe in the Tonse Alliance? Yes or no?
No.
No. In your leadership style, Magufuli or Rwanda President Paul Kagame?
Magufuli every day. Magufuli every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Given a chance to choose one, ideologies of Salos Chilima and ideologies of Malema in South Africa.
Just Malema every day.
Yeah. Who is the closest to you in the MCP high ranks?
It's a difficult one. Closest as in wake or personally? I have to.
Personally.
Honorable Chimwendo Banda.
Okay. If we are to go to the pause next year and somehow the state president says, I'm not contesting, who would you wish was on the ballot and you're going to cast a vote for?
Wow. I never thought about that. Maybe give me options, because I've never really thought about that. Maybe give me options.
Who is rooting for the presidency in MCP ranks when you look at it?
Right now?
In MCP, yes.
No, honestly speaking, I don't think there's anybody, because we are all Team Chakwera. Honestly. Even if you've seen the endorsements flowing, it clearly shows you that no one is really thinking about it. Maybe after 2026, because I'm sure that's when people will now start harboring those dreams, because we will know for sure that Chakwera can't go beyond 2030. But for now, honestly, no, I don't think there's anybody who harbors those dreams for 2025.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure he will go uncontested at the convention. Yeah.
Okay, so when you look at the MCP governance team, who do you admire apart from the president? When you look at them, their leadership styles, whether it's ministerial posts, who is like, wow, that's that man or that woman?
There are a couple of people. I think I can mention a couple, right? Obviously, Honorable Chimwendo has to be there. I admire his hands-on approach. You have seen how he has delivered these youth camps. The time he was being appointed minister, the Griffin Sayenda complex, even the aquatic center, we're just scared ones, But this guy goes there as late as 11 p.m. He goes, even yesterday, he went to make sure the pool is okay at around 11 p.m. And he goes unannounced, just goes driving all by himself. I've seen him work. He is a hands-on guy. I love his approach. I admire him. I learn a lot from him. There's Honorable Sam Kawale. He's a very good man. He's a team player. That's what I like him about him the most. You give him any portfolio, even something that is strange to him, within a month he will deliver, because he loves delegating. He loves to learn from other people. I love that about him. I love Honorable Nancy Tembo. Yeah, there's a certain way she carries herself that I truly admire and I learn from. I love Honorable Moses Kunkuyu. He has some leadership acumen in him. So I can mention several people, but these four that I've mentioned, I truly admire them, and I think there's more for them in the years to come.
Interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. If today you were asked to choose another office to work in, which office would you choose now?
Wow. That's a difficult one. Let's see. Well, apart from doing youth work, I think one thing that I'm also mostly passionate about is community service. Yeah. So I don't know if there are any structures apart from the ministry headed by Honorable Kariati, but I would love something to do with the community. I also love ICT and PR, like I already said.
Yeah.
So anything to do with that, I really appreciate. And tourism. I love tourism. I haven't done much on it, but it's something that I have. I think we've talked about it in our own times. Yeah. There are several ideas that I have that I think can work in Malawi. Like, for example, it beats me up now. We don't have a cinema in Malawi. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the whole country, somebody can't just
set one up. That's
it doesn't make sense when Mozambique when Mozambique has a cinema, the cinemas. Zambia, people go to
go to Zambia
to watch. I remember
Forever.
There was the time people went for that.
Mm-hmm.
Even myself, when I got picked for this fellowship, and the movie had been premiered, people were downloading. Somebody say, "I can share you." I'm like, no.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to Dar es Salaam. I'm going to watch in cinema. I'm going to watch in the cinema. I went there and I watched. And if you check people who and where the cinemas are, they're just at simple malls.
Yeah.
And even an average person can afford to go. So these are just little things that we think of. We think of Lilongwe. The whole Lilongwe has got no amusement park. Sometimes I sit down and I think, Guti, I'm glad Guti, most of my nephews and nieces are still very young. But I think of someday they'll be asking me, Uncle, can you take us around? And I think of Lilongwe.
Where do I go?
On a weekend in Lilongwe. Where can you take kids? At least now we've got these games going on, the youth games. I've seen a lot of people taking their kids there. It just shows you how much we miss entertainment and recreational services in this country. There's no amusement park. In Blantyre, there used to be parks. Their state right now is, brother. You think of these things, and when you talk of Flores in Malawi, we talk of Lake Malawi and Mulanje Mountain and Nyika. Man, there's too many things we can do even within the cities.
Yeah.
Somebody should not fly into Malawi, figure by airport baja, kumadigira good okay, kama wali ndunyama kalipira kunyika. Within Lilongwe, they have nothing to do. We have a very serious problem as a country, and honestly,
I know we have run out of time, and you are talking about entertainment and tourism.
Yes.
I won't let you go without commenting on the last events that happened last night. Miss Malawi Beauty Contest on a Saturday night. Your one take in less than a minute.
Disorganization, lack of seriousness. I felt sorry watching that show. I should say that, because I was coming from 2 days before. I had watched the opening ceremony for the AU Region 5.
The youth games. Yes, at the Bingu Stadium.
Did you see how those were organized?
Yes.
You could actually tell kuti show hii akupanga mani show hii na hakunja. Machita kuone kuti this is not a Malawian production. You could see the seriousness of the people, the ground people there. I was at the VIP, so I could see them close. You could see the way the artists were coming. Ajina Malinga, Ajina Quest, the way they were coming in, the way they're coming. Asa majozoti, anipasa 3 minutes, that's it. Ugama chedwa, they were pointers. They would take. It was that well organized. 2 days later, you watch a show where a host akupita kayo backstage DJ ikanyimbo. Bro, just think of that.
And this is a TV production, right?
Yeah, it's live on TV. It goes 4 hours plus. You don't run that show for 4 hours plus. So actually, I've seen some secondary school talent shows, variety shows that are much better organized than that. So yeah, we understand we miss Miss Malawi. That's true, but it doesn't mean they should give us a half-baked show. They need to go back on their drawing table. Next year, let them involve people. And if you check the kind of artists who are performing, man, I don't think they were ready for this show. Okay. So anyway, we haven't had Miss Malawi for almost 4 years, and these are new organizers. We give them the benefit of doubt. Hopefully, they've learned from this show. But we need to be serious. When you are given an opportunity to run something, let's be serious. We can't continue accepting mediocrity. No.
Okay. There are claims that the former Miss Malawi, who has reigned for 4 years, was denied entry and a chance to pass on the crown by the state personnel because of her dressing. Did you see the dress?
I saw the dress. I saw nothing wrong with it. And I tend not to believe it was a state, because how can the state interfere in a show that they're not organizing? Yes, the first state was there, but I think she was there as a guest.
Yeah.
If it was something to do with her security, maybe, but I don't think the state would say this one must not hand over her crown because she's not dressed well. I don't think the state can do that. It's the organizers, and I believe they had beef with the girl. I believe there was something personal they had with the girl. She wasn't dressed inappropriately. I don't think so. She was dressed well. She was dressed for the event. Okay. So what happened was very unfortunate. it's the same mediocrity we are talking about, So you can see that mediocrity in Malawi has attacked all sectors.
Every sector.
We really need to rethink as a people. We need a mindset change. We need to start being proactive in whatever we do. Let's do things professionally. Let's do things the way they're supposed to be handled. That's what I would say.
Michael, Yongo. There's another name.
I've got too many names.
Emmanuel as well, right?
Emmanuel Michael Manyongo.
Manyongo.
That's the name. Emmanuel Michael. That's the name my grandfather gave me.
Okay.
Actually, I was supposed to be called Michael because that was his name. My late grandfather from my mom's side. But because I was born on 24 December, then they had to change to Emmanuel.
Oh, Jesus.
So the reason why I always put my middle name on everything, every form I'm writing, if there's no space, I tell them the space is enough, I'll still write on top. Because Michael was my designated name. But because of being a Christmas baby, they had to give me Emmanuel. So I still have to honor my grandfather and carry that. But next year, I'm changing my name. I think I didn't talk about that. I'm dropping all my colonial names. So
and you'll be known by...
I think I should leave it for that.
Okay, I think next time we'll have a conversation and you let us know. But it's been a pleasure sitting down with you. We love these honest conversations, and that's why we have this space in the podcast. We're not here just for entertainment. We're here to shift people's mindsets, to look at things the way they are, to understand people how they think. And you're one person that I know always has opinions, and you're not afraid to give out your opinions on issues that concern you, concern the country, concern the continent, and even the world at large. So it has been a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors as the board of the Malawi Youth Council, and as you go back to work after your study leave on Monday.
Thank you.
I hope you'll not be cutting your hair from...
No, I'm not. At least for the next 4 years, you can be assured that I'll have this hair.
Perfect.
Sure.
All right. Yongo. Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
For all of you who liked and enjoyed this conversation, make sure you share this conversation with Michael Yongo Wayongo to your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so that you get a notification every time we drop a new podcast. Remember that this podcast is sponsored by Crypto University. We've talked about it. Make sure you check it out. And there are information and the link in the description of this podcast. Until next week, I'm your host, Dennis Imani. And we had our fact checker, Miss Brigitta Flower, trying to get us all the facts about everything that we talk about here. Mr. Kellyon and the whole production crew here. Peace.